Hello, my name is Kevin Gary. I'm an associate professor at ASU in the software engineering program. I've been on the faculty as tenure track since 2004, and I've been teaching at ASU since 2001. Did my graduate study here, so I've been around ASU since 1989. But during my career, I spent a lot of time in web and mobile-based systems. I have several years industry experience as an architect of large-scale web systems. And in academia, I conduct research in web and mobile systems, particularly in the area of healthcare. I do believe an engineered approach is needed to improve the quality and usability of web applications. This subdiscipline needs folks like you, software engineers like you, to improve the quality of the web. In terms of this course in the context of your degree program, SER421 is a course in full stack web application development, meaning front end and back end, programming in the browser, programming on the server side. This course is suggested as the third course in the web and mobile systems focus area of the Bachelor's in Software Engineering, or for graduate students seeking to build their technical competence in web development. SER421 is not a prerequisite for SER422 or 423, although in our course sequencing on the major map, it suggests that you take 421 first, and if possible, I suggest you follow that sequence, but it is not strictly required. However, SER321, distributed computing, is a hard prerequisite for this course. You really need to take that course before this one, as you'll cover concepts in things like sockets, threads, data marshaling, multi-threading, and so forth that you will directly apply in this course. Other courses that can help with the content of this course include SER334, operating systems. In that course, you talk a lot about runtime environments or how programs execute. We will talk about that in the concept of a browser as well as in the server side, as well as SER322, our database systems course. Most web applications talk to a database. That's not a strict prerequisite, as we'll kind of provide that data source interface for you. However, it is a common pattern for web applications to talk to database systems, so it's helpful if you take the courses in sequence. Obviously, SER421 is a 400-level course, so it is presumed that you have matured in your academic career to a senior level in terms of your technical competence in programming. We do expect good code in this course, and you'll see in some of your assignments that there are explicit requirements around the quality of the code. Even though that may not be directly taught in this course, we do expect that you're programming at a level that's well beyond what we see in the lower division. We also expect you have an understanding of software engineering best practices. A lot of that stuff comes from courses in your junior year, like SER316, and while that's not listed as a hard prerequisite, we expect that you have an idea of what testing is, of what refactoring is, and what source code control is, so we can do change management. From the degree program accreditation perspective, the curricular program design that you are aware of, this is a course again in the web and mobile focus area, and that focus area constitutes the application area of accreditation. In software engineering accreditation, degree programs are required to have at least one application area in which you apply software engineering, and so web and mobile constitutes one of those areas, and certainly this course is a very applied course in terms of applying these concepts and theories. I'm going to talk next about the outcomes of the course and how those outcomes relate to the degree program outcomes in your Bachelor of Software Engineering program. The degree program outcomes that we support in this course are technical competence and software engineering practices. Obviously, technical competence. This is a deep technology course. It will have advanced programming concepts. You will be doing a lot of programming work. We expect under technical competence that you can understand the evolution of systems architecture of the web, the evolution of HTTP, the evolution of browser-based programming. The browser is a runtime environment now where it wasn't in the past. Different server-side runtime environments, even though we'll be focusing on a particular one, I will still talk to you about the range of server-side runtime environments and how those have evolved over time. We will compare and contrast front and back-end web technology so that you can make intelligent decisions when you go out into the workforce about what technology stacks are appropriate to the particular types of applications that you will build. We expect that you'll gain proficiency in JavaScript coding. We'll do that both on the front end and back end. It'll all be JavaScript. However, there will be variations in the JavaScript based on the frameworks that you'll be using on the server side and on the client side or browser side. We expect that you'll understand the challenges and value propositions for using technology to develop mobile applications. How do you port these applications onto the mobile device, And when doing so, are web technologies the best technologies to use for the particular application you're trying to build, or are what's called native technologies for that target device a better option that kind of prepares you for SER423? We'll spend a significant amount of time talking about the prevalent software design patterns on the web. In particular, you may have heard of Model View Controller, but there's several variants and other design patterns that apply in web programming. We'll talk about those variations, why they exist, when you may want to use them, and how you might want to adapt them for your own purposes. We'll talk about architectural styles, things like asynchronous processing, component container frameworks, and event-driven programming that are prevalent in almost all types of web system development, front-end or back-end. The second degree program outcome that we support are in software engineering practices. So it's not just learning the technical competence of how to program the web, but we want you to take that engineered approach. So we'll talk about things like how do you unit test a web application and how you do that code coverage we talked about in 316. We'll talk about source code control and how to manage the rapid change that usually happens with web applications. They're constantly being updated out there because you deploy them on the web. You don't have to download them. So your change management tied back to your source code control and versioning system is very important. How do you refactor and maintain the quality of web code as it's changing all the time? We'll talk about security and privacy on the web, particularly security across the full stack from the network on up through the application, and at the application level, what its responsibilities are compared and contrasted to the rest of the stack. And finally, we'll talk about systems level concepts. And what I mean by system level concepts is how the application is deployed in an operational environment like rack-mounted environment, like the cloud environment, and how that affects your performance and scalability. That gives you the ability to work as an architect with your information systems analysis people, your analysts who operate those environments, so you can understand how to architect your software for how it will be deployed so you can meet a very significant number of end users out on the web. So again, my name is Kevin Gary. I'm the course coordinator. In the course coordinator role, I may or may not be the actual instructor for the course, but I am responsible for the content of the course and these outcomes and how they tie to program outcomes. This is a course that I developed personally, and so I have a lot of enthusiasm about. I did it in industry, so I try to bring a lot of that perspective to the lectures that are provided to you. I will be available during your session for course coordinator office hours. The role of that is for you to come to me with any feedback you have on the course content itself or questions. Obviously the office hours with your instructors and TAs week to week is intended to be for them to answer questions about that particular course instance you're in. But if you have feedback or questions about the content itself, why you're learning this, what things are working, what things are not, by all means, please connect with me when those office hours are posted to your shell. I'll be happy to speak to you about it. And again, I encourage you to fill out your course feedback forms at the end of the session with constructive feedback on how to make the course better. I hope you enjoy the course. Thank you and good luck.